There's gotta be some kind of truth in what I'm saying.
Welcome to Whiskey, Whey, and Whey. I'm Chuck.
I'm Zach.
Again, I'm still not getting used to the multiple cameras in different directions, but how are you today?
Man, I'm fantastic. It's been a busy day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I saw you training pretty hard with the recovery of the hand. How's it going?
It's good. I can almost make a complete fist. I can touch my
Nice.
pinky. Swelling's almost all the way down. So getting a lot of movement back. It's still obviously very weak.
Yeah.
So I'm still, probably 10, 11 weeks out before it's full blown back to normal.
Mhm.
But no, I've seen extremely good progress in the last week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You able to give somebody the bird yet?
Can confirm.
Yes. Awesome. Well, what did you work out today?
Lower body and core.
Nice. I saw you using the SSB bar. Was that your first time using it?
It was my first time using it.
How'd you like it?
Once I figured out how to use it correctly, thanks to you, it was good. It was just different.
I wouldn't say you were using it incorrectly. You were using it one way that was not ideal for not holding on. So you can use it both ways. It just puts the weight in a different direction.
It was good because I still don't have that range of motion to get back here yet, but I can hold it here and be comfortable.
Yeah.
So it's a good alternative, and thanks to you've helped open my eyes to certain modifications. So when somebody is injured, it's easy to redirect now.
That's good.
So,
well, I'm glad I could help.
yeah.
I got a lot of experience with our sponsor over here. I trained him for a little while, and having one hand, one arm came in handy learning how to attach stuff to people's forearms and elbows and upper arms.
Right. What did y'all work out today?
We did a little core and cardio. We've gotten to where we do every muscle group twice a week.
Okay.
And we're trying to incorporate core a little bit every day. Nothing to the point where we soar.
Mm-hmm.
But Wednesdays we really push it hard and try to get our heart rates up. All of us are getting older, and it's starting to get to the point it's harder for us to lose weight. We're not even drinking yet, and I'm stuttering. Speaking of, would you like to pour a glass?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Today we are drinking, is it Mitcher's? Yes. Mitcher's Small Batch. It's a Kentucky Straight Bourbon. I have to talk really slow and decisive. This actually might go well with our conspiracy theory of the day later. Distilled in small batches according to the Mitcher's pre-Revolutionary War quality standards dating back to 1753. It's a 91 proof. I actually got this for the whiskey swap and ended up keeping it. So. Chin chin.
Chin.
So, our last episode, we got a lot of engagement. Did you see any of that?
I saw some of it.
We're still playing with our mics, trying to get everything right. Sorry if it makes a loud noise, but one of our members to both the channel and the gym, Brandon, he had to give us a little. I don't even know how to word it. He put us in our place.
I didn't see this one.
No, you didn't?
No.
Okay. So last episode we made the goal for the blood oath behind my head here. If we hit a 3,000 subscriber mark and 100 members to the channel, that we would crack it open and have a celebratory pour. And I made the comment, we are at 25 members. That's only 75% or 125%. And I knew I was wrong in both of those numbers, and I just carried on with the conversation. But he had to point it out that both college graduates, neither one of us could figure out that it was truly like, let's see, what's the actual math here? So,
okay, Brandon, for the record, my undergrad degree was in kinesiology. It's movement. And then my master's degree is in counseling, which has nothing to do with mathematics.
Well, my major was kinesiology. I was a math major at one point. I did not change it because I was bad at math. I changed it because I chose a different path.
No, Brandon, He chose it because he's bad at math.
I passed Cal 1 and 2 with an A. I will not even humble brag. I'll just brag. But it was nice having Brandon engage with the video. He's a member of the gym, so we see him on almost a semi-daily basis.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and his wife does our hair for the kids, and my wife, and she even cut my hair. Built a good relationship with a lot of people in our community. It makes my day hearing, like, having someone who I see on a daily basis also engaging with the stuff that we do online. So building a good culture.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've transitioned to y'all's gym as soon as I possibly could from a.
Yeah, because you had a free membership somewhere.
Yeah, I was going to the University of Montevallo. I had free membership there, and so even then, like, I've been in those big box commercial gyms, and after coming here and being involved in this type of culture of a smaller gym, a more, I don't know, it just feels more like a tight-knit family-oriented gym. I won't go back to the big box.
We're considered we used to call it semi-private, but we've gone full private at this point.
I gotcha.
You have to have some kind of onboarding connection to even get set up with us.
Right.
And then at that point, we're still limiting capacity. So if we hit our cap, it's going to be a waiting list after that. We haven't hit it yet, but we've gotten pretty close over the last couple months. So I'm enjoying that. But, I'm curious to anybody who's watching, what's your experience with gyms, commercial gyms, private gyms, home gyms? Have you had good, bad experiences? What's really, I guess, what's stood out to you? For example, do you know your first experience in a gym?
My first ever experience in the gym was probably in 7th grade when I was playing basketball. You're required to go, and even then I was very small. I always got made fun of for my size, and walking into the gym and just seeing these seniors, because we all shared a gym, and they're throwing around heavyweight, grunting, weights are clanging, and it's intimidating. I'm like, I can't lift this. I can't even come close to lifting this.
Yeah.
So I found myself just kind of standing off to the side in the corner, and it took a couple of years before somebody took me under their wing and said, "Hey, this is how we roll. This is what's going on." So I mean, obviously, as you progress in athletics, you get more comfortable in the gym, and it just becomes second nature. Now it's just what you do. But I will say, even transitioning out of college and having to find a commercial gym to be a part of, it was still intimidating. It was still intimidating to have to go into a brand new place, see brand new faces, not know what the culture is like. It's just difficult. And I think that's probably a big reason people veer away from joining gyms and having gym memberships. And that's a really easy excuse for people not to get into the fitness life.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm going to pose the question a better way for the audience. Do you remember your first experience with the gym? Was it good? Was it bad? Did you have someone, like you said, took you under the wing and kind of showed you what to do? Or did you just jump in? Or have you not took that step because you're scared of what could be? You've got in your head. So if you don't mind, in the comments down below, let us know what your experience is, or your fears of joining the gym. Mine, and I guess I'm very lucky in this sense, because my dad took me to the gym when I was little. Like, it's some of my faintest memories. So I know I was really young. He knew the owner. They were close, so they didn't mind me coming in with him. I stayed by his side the whole time. And everybody there respected my dad in the community and in the gym together. So people would come up, talk to him, and they talked to me like I was like a small town celebrity. They called me Little Spider. It was
right.
And he got me in the gym at a very young age in a positive way. So I never really had the concern, like you said, when you walked in, you see these intimidation from these upperclassmen, because when I first started at the gym at the school, I had been working out for a while. Like, so I was already slightly ahead of most people my age. So I never had that. And I know not everybody has that experience.
Right.
Kind of why we built what we built here was, number one, to build a safe space.
But I think, reframing the word safe space,
Yes.
You have a comfortable space.
Yes.
You have a supportive space. You have a space that you can come to and say, hey, I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable and get into lifting and feel like I can be supportive through it.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had like a really bad experience in any gyms? I've got a couple I can talk about, but
really bad experiences.
We talked about our first, but is there anything that stands out?
I've had some. I'm not going to call out specific gyms, but I've had some bigger box gyms where I've gone into, and it seems like I'm constantly having to be mindful of my space. I'm constantly having to wait around for the next machine to open up. And I get that you want to have conversation while you talk, but there's people that will go in and spend 2 to 3 hours and be on a squat rack for 45 minutes. Time and space for it, but a lot of people don't have that capacity to be in the gym or even want to be in the gym for that long. Like, preferably for me, I want to get in and spend 35 to 60 minutes and bang it out.
Yeah.
Like, I think I can get a hard workout in, get everything, but I'm not having to consistently wait on a machine.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't say it was just a frustrating experience for me.
So you said you wouldn't name drop gyms, but I don't mind speaking about other gyms if, it's not their fault. So Crunch is a perfect example. It's a big chain. There's one here in town. We have members that go here and to Crunch. They kind of
I've been to a couple spin classes there.
Yeah, they go classes there. They come classes here. They do their general fitness there. They come over here for personalized training. But when I travel, because I used to travel a lot more than I do now for work, I would have to go do like day passes, week pass, or whatever it may be.
Right.
And Crunches were everywhere. And I've had good and bad experiences there. But the bad was, like you said, you get there, it's so crowded, you can't get to what you need. I remember a specific time I went to the one in Mississippi. I can't remember the exact city, but I got there, and of course, I went at the most busy time of the day, 5:30, 6 o'clock after I got off work. But every squat rack was packed. I kid you not, me and like 4 other people were all on the treadmills. As soon as the rack opened up, we all kind of looked at each other and just beelined it straight for it. Of course, took 2 or 3 tries before I finally got one.
Right. I should have formed a little coalition. So
that's the other thing. That was the other thing. It was the people in there. They didn't want to. Because I even asked one, but I was like, hey, do you want to kind of work? He just kind of like brushed me off. I was like, okay, that's fine. We don't have to. But unfortunately, that's the model for most big box gyms is get as many people in at a cheap price and just hope they don't show up.
Right. Or forget about their reoccurring
Yes.
charges.
Yeah. So, not trying to make a sales pitch for my gym, but we don't auto draft. So,
Right.
Well, if someone were to, let's say, they haven't had an experience, but they've built it up in their head, because I know people personally who have said, I don't want to go to the gym because I'm scared of what people are going to think when they see me, or
Right.
I hate this one. I need to lose weight before I get in the gym.
Right.
Why do you need to lose weight to get in the gym when the gym is there to help you lose weight? What would you say to somebody like that from a counselor perspective?
I think gym intimidation or gym intimidation.
Yeah.
I think that it's a real thing, and I always fall back on getting people to understand. Focus on the controllables. There's a lot of things in gym culture that you can't control. You can't control somebody spending an abundant amount of time on a weight rack, but what you can control is you can control your workout and how you modify around it. Mm-hmm. So you can't control people's attitudes or can't control people's egos or the way they behave. So I always tell people, what are the things you can control? So a lot of times you can control when you go to the gym. So I would encourage people, if they're just starting out, don't hit those peak times when you're walking into this sea of people, and now you're just looking for any machine, and it's throwing your whole world into a spiral.
Yes.
You know, and another thing is, a lot of gyms will have orientation, or a gym owner like you guys that will take the time to orient everybody to the gym. And so if you don't have that ability to have an orientation for a new gym, it may be good to just bring a friend for 1 or 2 sessions, so you're not there all alone in that. You know, and if you don't have a lot of friends that go to the gym, maybe start out taking a small group class. So at least you're engaging in gym culture, but you're doing it in a, group environment. So everybody's not watching you. Everybody's focused on the instructor. Everybody's focused on the workout. So I always tell people to fall back on the things that you can control, because you want to be comfortable, and you want to feel empowered in the gym. And one of the things, I would say 98% of people will listen to music or a podcast. And one thing that I've told people, go ahead and build a playlist that's inspiring. Build a playlist of your favorite songs, of your comfort songs. So even if all the things around you is chaos, you're falling back on what's in your ears is music that you're comfortable with, music that is encouraging you. So that is one of the biggest things that I will encourage people to do prior, so they have some form of comfortability and support going into it, even if they're going into it solo.
So I'm about to get way off topic because you said something that triggered in my head. The music you listen to when you're working out. I don't know about you, but for the longest time it was angry, heavy metal, like hard music. Because everybody was like, let's get something to pump us up. And they'd turn on like just heavy metal music. But I found that that's not the most effective music for me personally.
Yeah.
It puts me in a kind of a dark headspace. I tend to zone out more. I don't really focus on the program. And somebody, I can't remember where I saw it, but they were like, put music on that you can dance to. Something like poppy.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So the other day we put on, I forget what it was. It was like, it wasn't Taylor Swift, but it was along those lines. And dude, like we were all just kind of like bouncing around in the back, had a lot more energy. We were able to go. And the workout was so much more enjoyable. So I don't know, that something you said about that just triggered. That's another question we could ask people, what's your go-to playlist for the gym?
So I will say I've taken a really, really raw approach probably the last 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
I've completely cut out all music. So if it's not playing on y'all's. So like I got to the point where I'm like, I don't want to have to depend on externals for me to perform at the level I want to.
Yeah.
So I don't want to have music be the reason I work harder. I don't want to have a cut out pre-workout as well. So
Yeah.
I don't want a pre-workout to say, I didn't have my pre-workout today, I can't work as hard. So I've been kind of experimenting, just like, how can I just do it as raw as possible with little externals? That way it's a very...
I can't wait to clip that audio.
So how can I do it where it's a very internally driven thing and not externally? If that makes sense.
That's a topic for a whole nother episode.
It is.
Because
it is.
I've cut out pre-workout recently.
Yeah.
Well, I say recently. It's been almost like 8 months now since I had pre-workout.
Yeah.
So, but I get what you're coming from. Music, though, and I've caught myself going in and working out with no music, but it does change my whole tempo, I guess is the best way to put it. Because high upbeat music, I'm going faster. I'm bouncing around. I'm not dragging. We've gone in there, and I didn't realize that we didn't have music playing. And halfway through the workout, someone's like, "Can we put some music on?" And I was like, "No wonder I'm over here just half-assing it."
Right.
So no, that's a good point to make. And I'm sorry I got off topic on that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I do love music, and I work out to music. It's just recently that's been the approach I've taken, because I want to gut check myself to say, would you still be able to perform at the same level without these externals? I'm not knocking music by all means. Like, I'll throw on and do a 20-minute HIIT workout. I'm like,
yeah. I've noticed recently with gym culture, it's kind of shifted more to where there's a lot more home gyms. And while I'm not a anti-home gym person, obviously I own a gym, so I want people to come here and work out. And I've had a home gym. We started actually out of our home gym, training people out of our house. But I do think there's a lot to be said about the camaraderie, the personal relationships you build when you're at the gym with like-minded people.
Right.
So what's your thoughts on seclusion versus, group training?
Ideally, I would have a complete home setup for those days that I can't make it to the gym. But I have found that if I make the effort to leave my home and go to some place, it's already showing my mind and my body, hey, you're here in a different place to work. And so, and you saw me up here multiple times over the last 6 weeks when I couldn't even work out.
Yeah.
And for me, it's part of recovery, especially getting back into a setting that I want to be back in, is how can I still be a part of that community even though I can't do what that community is doing right now.
Yeah. Speaking of like comments and stuff, we had a question a couple episodes back, like, what do you do when you get hurt? You still come in. Like you can, unless you're like on bed rest, you can find something to do.
Right.
Whether it be walking on the treadmill, riding the bike. I mean, if you hurt your leg, you can do some cable work. I mean, you can find something to stay active.
And even if you can't, like I believe being around your people and being around the sport, it has some kind of internal support system of saying, hey, I'm going to get back to this level.
Yeah.
Encouraging other people and supporting other people, that is just, it's coming back on you in a positive way. And I mean, it was frustrating for me. I couldn't do anything for a long time because the doctors were just like, you don't want to jack up that pin. You don't want to do this. And I was just in a lot of physical pain. But just leaving the house, coming up here, watching y'all work out, chatting for 15 to 20 minutes, it just improved my overall mental well-being, knowing that I'm still a part of this culture. I'm still going to get back to it, just not today.
Yeah. I'm big on rewatching shows that I really enjoyed, and I'm going back through Big Bang Theory right now. And there was an episode where Sheldon, he's like, if you just think about exercising, there's some study that shows that it actually has an improvement on your body. And I'm wondering how much of that is true. I wonder if it's true, because I know it's obviously a TV show and there's probably a joke about it, but there's so much to do with placebo effect on the body with so many different things. So, I mean, if just having the right mindset can put you in different body, how do I want to say that? Like, just having the right mindset can put you in the right track, Oh,
absolutely.
So how much just being around us this past 6 weeks kept you from more atrophy than what you had, or, more weight gain than what you had? Or
Well, I think it's a tremendous help because it keeps you focused. It keeps you engaged, and it keeps that goal-oriented side of your brain working. And we were talking about in that mental toughness class that I hosted a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about stress regulation and problem solving. So even, and it's why it's important to be able to verbalize issues to your close friends. And even if they're not able to solve your problems, or they're not even able to give advice, you're verbalizing that, and internally you're releasing hormones and chemicals that are improving and decreasing stress levels.
Yeah.
It may not be this drastic, I'm at 90% stress levels and now I'm at a 40, but even verbalizing your problems and getting those out, you're reducing it from like 90% to 85%. So there is a chemical internal reaction that happens. So I'm curious if it would be the same as, I'm not working out, but I'm here engaging in a positive atmosphere in something that I enjoy doing. How is that decreasing? Because it has to be decreasing some stress levels.
I'm sure it's decreasing your cortisol levels.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, we all know high cortisol can jack up your metabolism and everything else. So,
yeah.
No, I think there's a lot of negative perception about the gym when it comes to certain things. And I'm going to blast it, but Planet Fitness didn't help with their little lunk alarm ads. You know, I've been to a Planet Fitness. I'm pretty confident I've set the lunk alarm off. I don't even know what it was. No, it wasn't me. It was the guy I was with. He dropped the dumbbells a little too hard, and they set the lunk alarm off. And he didn't even know what that was at the time. He just kind of looked around. He's like, he did it again. He brought it down to. He wasn't like he was chunking them.
Right.
Brought it down to his side, and they're like 50s, and he dropped them. I said, dude, it's the lunk alarm. I said, what is that? I said, you're setting off the lunk alarm. You're doing too much. And I think the commercials that they had I think that really hurt the gym culture. And I've been to them since then, and they've gotten away from like a lot of free weights. So it's mainly just machines, mainly just cardio. I had to go.
It's hard to set a lunk alarm off with a machine.
It is. It really is. Except, I mean, you probably never watched it, but Brian Shaw's YouTube channel, him and another strongman and a guy named Juji Mufu, they all went to Planet Fitness and maxed out all their equipment and just made it unbearable for everybody there. But they also walked in and grabbed a pizza off the front counter.
See, yeah, I remember. So when me and Katie, when we first got married, we lived in Hoover, and we were less than a mile away from a Planet Fitness, so it just made sense to pay $5 a month or whatever it was to go to Planet Fitness. And I don't know that lunk alarms existed back then, but I do remember very vividly of like getting a really hard workout in and then being greeted as I'm leaving, hey, would you like a slice of pizza? And I'm like, I mean, yes, I'm going to take that pizza, but I'm curious, is this how you're retaining clientele?
Yeah, let's get you fat off pizza and then keep you here for a few more months.
But I mean, I don't know. I have mixed feelings on it because I love pizza. I eat pizza once or twice a week.
I can't be too judgmental of that because I'm sitting here like having whiskey nights, and I'm sure whiskey puts on the weight more than pizza does.
There's no calories in whiskey. That's a fact. That's science. No, that's science. That comes straight from the government.
Ooh, perfect segue into our conspiracy theory of the day.
So what do we got on tap?
All right, so
calories are fake?
No, it's about alcohol. Since we are a Whiskey, Waste, and Whey podcast and we drink whiskey while we talk, I've become a big fan of ChatGPT. It's replaced Google for me because it's easier to ask it a direct question and get a clear breakdown of everything. So
okay. I
went on, and let me just get it pulled back up because I don't want to mess it up. I went on and asked about conspiracy theories related to whiskey. And it gave me a laundry list of them. And I said, and it was related to fitness because I had talked about our podcast. And I mean, It's kind of scary how intelligent this thing is. I said, give me conspiracy theories that are not related to fitness.
Do you put please in the end of it?
Sometimes.
Okay.
I'm very nice to the AI.
You need to be nice
when they're overlords. That's another conspiracy theory. But I said expand upon the second one. That's about big oil. So it's prohibition was used as a plot by the big oil companies. The theory is that prohibition was a scheme orchestrated by the oil industry to suppress ethanol as a competitor is one of the more plausible and intriguing conspiracy theories surrounding the era. And then it gave me a background and a bunch of other stuff. So what it's saying is the prohibitions in the 1920s or whatever was not due to alcohol being bad or the government trying to control people's personal health. It was that alcohol was about to become a replacement for gasoline. And they said, no, that's going to cost us money because people can make alcohol at home. They can't make gasoline at home. So it says, before Prohibition, ethanol, a form of alcohol, was considered a viable alternative fuel for cars. It was clean burning, renewable, widely available, and many early engines, including some developed by Henry Ford, were designed to run off ethanol. Gasoline, on the other hand, was a byproduct of petroleum refinement and required extensive drilling, transportation refinement, making it less appealing in a world where ethanol would be distilled locally. Big oil companies, especially Standard Oil, saw ethanol as a direct threat to their growing dominance in the energy market. Let's see. Prohibition's convenient timing. I love it. It broke it down in really detail. Prohibition, which banned the production, the distribution, and sale of alcohol, conveniently eliminated ethanol as a competing fuel source. With ethanol production illegal, the public had no choice but to rely on gasoline, giving oil companies a near monopoly on fuel. By the time the Prohibition era ended in 1933, the infrastructure for gasoline-powered vehicles and petroleum distributed was so entrenched that ethanol never regained its pre-Prohibition movement. Key figures: John D. Rockefeller, the founder of Standard Oil and one of the richest men in history, was a prominent supporter of the temperance movement. He donated significant funds to organizations that pushed for prohibition, including Anti-Saloon League. And critics argue that Rockefeller's support for prohibition wasn't purely moral. It was a strategic business move to eliminate ethanol as a competitor. Now, they've got evidence, 3 evidence points. Rockefeller's role. He was funding, Rockefeller's funding of prohibition campaign raises questions about his motives. His donations are estimated to have been in the millions, in the 20s. Like, millions of dollars today is a huge donation. Millions of dollars in the 20s was just insane. Ethanol's decline. Before Prohibition, ethanol was widely used as a lamp fuel and engine fuel. After Prohibition, it was dwindled down. The oil became dominant energy source. And then gasoline's rise. Prohibition coincided with a rapid expansion of gasoline refinement and distribution infrastructure. So the government didn't want us to be able to put gas in our cars from something we had out back. They wanted us to rely on petroleum. Scale of 1 to 10, what's your thoughts?
I feel like there's probably some legitimacy to that.
Dude.
I would say 6.
6? Okay,
I'll say 6. I'm over halfway convinced that could be.
Okay, so our last episode you were at like a 1 and I was at a 3 or 4.
Yeah.
This one you're at a 6. I'm at like an 8 or 9.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I haven't looked into it, but just like I remember vaguely seeing some stuff about that. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense.
So, let us know your thoughts. Or did the government create prohibition to, 1, cut back on ethanol use, and 2, push petroleum fuel? So I think that, to me, is probably the most plausible one that I've come across getting ready for these episodes.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, this was a pretty short episode, but I think we hit on a few good topics and talked about gym culture, the positives, the negatives, what it can do for rehabilitation, having that community, what it can do if you got the wrong mindset going into it. It's a lot of scary thoughts when it comes to diving into something that you're not familiar with. And, it's always worse in your head than what it's actually going to be. Like, we spend so much time thinking about scenarios, worst case scenarios. It's never as bad as you think. Because and I think you've told me this before, you're worried about what people think of you. So is everybody else. They're all thinking the same thing. What does this person think about me? What does Zach think about me? What does Keith think about me? Y'all are thinking, what does Chuck think about me? And it's as concerned as you are about what people looking at you think, they're just as concerned about that.
Right.
I forget who told me. They said, think about the most embarrassing moment of your life. And you'll probably have 3 or 4 things come to mind. Can you think of an embarrassing moment that your friend had? How many of them are you going to think of? Maybe 1 at most, and that's your best friend.
Right.
A pure stranger or somebody you never met. How many times do you remember something embarrassing they did?
Right.
So your concern is valid, but just realize you're not the only one with that concern.
Yeah. And I think we see all these TikToks and Instagram reels of just these people getting all bent out of shape at the gym. But I will say the majority of gym culture is positive.
Yes.
I mean, I've had 95% of my time spent in the gym has been super positive. You know, and a lot of times that other 5% is on me to make it a negative experience. But I do think for the majority, everybody's in the gym for the right reasons. Everybody wants to be a part of a community that's supporting, that's uplifting, that's elevating them to be a better version of themselves. Most people come to the gym to be a better version of themselves. And so if you look at it from that aspect, if you're here to better yourself, I'm here to better myself. If Alex is here to better herself, we're all here on the same principle. And so that in itself is going to make a positive culture and a positive experience for most people.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like we always say at the end of every episode,
no one cares.
Train harder.
La